Monday, June 29th, 2026. I'm OG Nerd, and tonight I want to talk about the difference between a pause and a peace, because they are not the same thing, and right now in the Strait of Hormuz, in the skies over Kuwait and Bahrain, in the mountains of southern Lebanon, that difference is the difference between whether this war is ending or simply catching its breath. Let me tell you what happened this weekend, stripped of all the official language and spin. A Qatari civilian is dead. A residential building in Bahrain was heavily damaged by Iranian drones. Kuwait intercepted 2 ballistic missiles. The U.S. struck 10 Iranian military targets for the 3rd time in 3 weeks. And Iran struck back at the U.S. bases in 2 countries. In the Strait of Hormuz, the waterway through which 20% of the world's energy supply flows, is still not safely open, 12 days after the peace deal was supposedly signed. And then this morning, the strikes paused. A senior U.S. official said the technical talks are still on track. The deconfliction channels are still open. I believe those statements are true, and I am genuinely glad the strikes have paused, because every day without active military exchanges is a day where the people are caught in the crossfire and are a little safer. But I am not going to call a pause a peace, and I am not going to pretend that the fundamental problems driving this conflict have been resolved, because they have not. Here is the number that keeps me up at night. 42 days. That's how much time is left on the 60-day clock that started when the Memorandum of Understanding was signed on June 17th. In 42 days, the 2 sides are supposed to have negotiated a final permanent agreement covering Iran's nuclear program, the Strait of Hormuz, sanctions relief, the situation in Lebanon. In 42 days, while both sides are still trading strikes, while Israel is still bombing Lebanon, while Hezbollah is still firing at Israeli soldiers, while Qatari family is burying someone killed by shrapnel from a conflict they had nothing to do with, they are supposed to arrive at a comprehensive peace agreement covering some of the most contested issues in modern international relations. I believe in diplomacy. I believe it's always worth trying. But I also believe in being honest about the math. From my perspective, I have said consistently on this show that real peace requires all parties doing the fighting to be at the table. That principle has not changed, and this weekend proved exactly why it matters. The Lebanon piece of this puzzle is the piece that keeps breaking everything else. Iran has said from the beginning any deal must include Lebanon. Every time Israel strikes in Beirut, Tehran says the deal is breached. And Israel, whose prime minister has said his forces will stay in southern Lebanon indefinitely until Hezbollah has disarmed, has made it clear it does not consider itself bound by the U.S.-Iran framework. You cannot resolve that contradiction in 42 days through technical talks. You cannot resolve it without Netanyahu genuinely at the table. You cannot resolve it without Hezbollah, the actual armed forces controlling the southern Lebanon, having a path to understanding and standing down that does not require their complete and immediate disarmament. These are hard truths. They're uncomfortable truths. But they are the truths that the people of Lebanon, Iran, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar, who are living with the consequences of this conflict every single day, deserve to hear. Let me close tonight's tonight with what I think is the most important question nobody is asking loudly enough. The U.S. military cost of this war as of June 21st is $40 billion. Trump has requested $87 billion more. The total cost to the global economy in disrupted oil supplies, damaged infrastructure, elevated prices, and cascading economic effects is measured in the trillions. The human cost, thousands dead, millions displaced, families in mourning from Tehran to Tel Aviv to Mumbai to Doha, is incalculable. And we are 42 days away from either a final agreement or the expiration of the only framework holding any of this together. A foreign policy demands that the people making these decisions be accountable for the full cost, not just the military wins and the signing ceremonies, but the civilian deaths, the disrupted supply chains, the workers paying higher prices, and the families who lost someone in a conflict that Congress never authorized. The pause is welcome, but a pause is not peace. And 42 days from now, we will know whether this was a historic diplomatic achievement or the most expensive pause in modern history. I will be right here, either way, telling you the truth about what happened. I'm OG Nerd. That is my take. Stay informed, stay sharp, but most of all, stay woke and watch that clock. Join the conversation at OG Nerd After Dark, 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 days a week. I will see you there on TikTok. Bye now.